Hello traders and welcome to another weekly market outlook. As we head into the new trading week, let's look at the chart and see potential trading opportunities the market may offer us. Okay. Alright, this is DXY on the weekly time frame. On the weekly time frame, if you look at the chart properly, you see that market structure now has shifted bullish, having rejected from this demand zone. Okay. Price rejected from this demand zone, give us a shift in market structure here, printed a high, then a higher low, then a possible higher high here. If you look at the chart very well, you see that price now is beginning to range towards the downside on the weekly time frame. So I look forward to see if price will pull back into this demand zone before giving us a continuation to this weekly supply here. So that is a trading opportunity I'm looking out for. If price should pull back into this weekly demand, I will look for a long to target that weekly supply zone up there. Okay. Now let's look at the daily time frame. On the daily here, if you look at price action, you also see that price right now has turned bullish. Having printed this low, price gave us a market structure shift here, and right now gave us a higher low and then a higher high, giving us a break of structure here, and then a pullback to this demand zone give us a good trading opportunity to enter the market and then continue to this daily supply zone, which also corresponds with the weekly supply. So if you look at daily demand zone and the daily supply zone, both correspond with the weekly zones. So that makes these two zones a very good potential trading opportunity to pay attention to. If we also go down to 4 hours time frame and look at the market structure, you will also see that the 4 hours also is bullish overall. Okay, and this 4 hours demand zone here also corresponds with the daily zone and the weekly zone. So what I will do is to patiently wait and see if price will pull back to this demand zone before I take trade to continue the trend. Remember, as I always say, trend is your friend. So that is my expectation on the US dollar index. Now let's look at another pair here, the Euro USD. Euro USD, which you all know is the inverse of dollar index. So whatever happens on dollar index, the opposite is what you see on the Euro USD. So Euro USD here has already turned bearish. The market structure, after rejecting that from that supply zone, you see is beginning to trend towards the downside. Price right here gave us a shift in market structure here. You can see that a market structure shift here, then a lower high, then a lower low. So what I'm looking forward to see is if price will further pull back to this weekly supply before a continuation to this demand zone here. Okay, so any pullback to that supply zone will give me an entry to continue to the downside on the weekly time frame. Then on the daily time frame, if you look at Euro very well, you see that after that high, we had a shift in market structure here, then a lower high, a lower low, giving us a break of structure here on the daily time frame. So what I'm looking forward to see is a possible pullback from here into this supply. Then I'll look for a short opportunity, okay, to the downside, targeting this daily demand here. All right. So this is a very good swing trading opportunity to look out for on the Euro USD. If we also go down to the 4 hours time frame here, you can see on the 4 hours time frame, Euro USD on the 4 hour is also bearish overall. 4 hours time frame has been printing lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, and a lower high. And after this lower high here on the 4 hours time frame, price right now has created a new higher low here. Okay, And at the same time, price has given us this market structure shift here. Can you see that? Right now, have a market structure shift here, and then price is pulling back downward. So I look forward to a continuation, possibly to that zone, that supply zone, okay, before a continuation to the downside. Let me show you something here. Price possibly, after rejecting from this demand zone, which we highlighted in our midweek analysis, might possibly trading to this supply, we experience a pullback before a continuation to that supply zone, where we then look for overall swing trading opportunity to the downside. Okay, so that is my expectation on Euro USD. So let's watch out for that. Then the next pair on my list here is gold. So gold, starting from the weekly time frame. Gold right now on the weekly time frame, you see the overall trend is still remains bullish. What we're having here is a normal retracement we always have in the market. So though people are panicking that gold is turning bearish and what have you, yes, no market will always trend in one direction without experiencing a pullback along the way before continuation. So personally, I see this bearish move here as a retracement to give us opportunity to continue the ride to the upside. Okay, so right now you can see on the weekly time frame, gold is within this demand zone, which has rejected multiple times. 1, 2, 3, 4 now. Okay, so what I'm simply going to do is to go down to the daily time frame. If you look at the daily structure also, in the intermediate, you can see the market is bearish, printing a high here, low, lower high, lower low, lower high, and now a possible lower low, which we are looking forward to see. So if you look at also the immediate price action here, you see that price right here is creating this channel on the daily time frame. You can see the channel on the daily time frame. So any breakout from this channel will give us a possible continuation to the upside. All right. So what are the trading opportunities to look out for in the coming week? If you go down to the 4 hours time frame here, you will see that right below here, lies a whole lot of liquidity. If you understand liquidity concept very well and how gold always move, okay, I look forward to see if gold we pull back into this supply here, then I'll look for a short opportunity to go down, okay, and then sweep this liquidity below, all the liquidity lying below here before continuation. So that's what I'm looking at for on gold. This to this supply, and then a continuation to the downside before a possible reversal. So this is my trading idea on gold. I'm not just going to start longing from here because I see this situation. No, gold always will deceive people, build liquidity around here, and before you know, you see a return to the downside before that bounce will probably happen. So I'll patiently by next week see as price push into this 4 hours immediate supply here. I'll look for trading opportunities. So right now on gold, I'm cautiously bearish on gold. So if market should pull back, I look for a sell, then manage risks along the way. Okay, if the zone should be violated to this one, also this zone here, I'll also look for trade opportunity. If each one should fail, then I'll stay clear of the market to see what happens next. If this zone and this zone should fail for any reason, then I'm not going to force any trade any longer. I'll just sit back and watch what market will do next. Okay, in that case, any retracement back to this daily supply here, which also corresponds with the 4-hour supply, I may look for short opportunity from that particular area. Mind you, you're expecting dollar index to pull back. So within this period, that dollar index will be going down. Gold might use that opportunity to also gain momentum. Even though the escalation in the Middle East will also put more pressure, a kind of headwind on gold as well. So we need to watch out on the fundamentals as well to know what is happening geopolitically and also the economic data that will be released in the coming days or weeks, okay, to really decide our technical bias, okay. So these are my trading ideas for gold in the coming week. All right. The next pair on our list here is oil. So oil right now is pulling back towards this weekly supply zone. We have been rejected from this weekly demand. So personally, what I will do is to go down to the lower time frame to look for trading opportunity, which right now on the daily time frame, you can see after this consolidation, you can see the price break out. So next week, if I see any pullback, slight pullback into this zone, I will look for a ride to continue upward. Okay? On the daily, that's what I will do. Any pullback, slight pullback to this consolidation zone, okay, I will step in to look for opportunity to continue to this daily supply zone. If this zone should fail, any pullback to this demand zone will also give me an entry opportunity to continue that ride. Unless there is a kind of ceasefire in the Middle East, in that case, you might see a strong downward movement on the US oil. But for now, in as much as the tension continues, what we're experiencing is just temporary pullback and then the trend will continue to the upside. So that is my trade idea on the daily time frame. Going down to the 4 hours time frame here, the same thing. So you can see market having breaking above this 4-hour supply here, which I will remove right now. Any pullback to this range zone will give me an entry opportunity on the US oil. So that's what I will be doing. I will look for trading opportunity on the 4 hours. My first target will be this 4-hour supply and then a possible continuation. Okay. Then if this demand zone should fail, you see also I have another demand zone here, of which if price should pull back there, I will also look for long opportunity on the US oil. All right. So the next pair here is US 500. The US 500 overall on the higher time frame remains bullish, even though right now we are experiencing a period of ranging price action here. On the weekly, the only zone I'm seeing here is this demand zone. So on the weekly perspective, if price should go back there, it's a good trading opportunity on the weekly time frame. Okay. While on the daily time frame here, if you look at the chart very well, have a good daily zone here. I have a good daily demand zone here, which I've already put my entry to here. So the pullback to this daily zone will give me a continuation to the upside. If this zone should fail, then I'll wait to see if price will continue all the way down to this demand zone here. If here should fail, we also have another demand zone here we look out for. Okay, so my bias on the US 500 is bullish, but on the temporary, I'm looking forward to a pullback before that bullish continuation. If you go down to 4 hours as well, on the 4 hours time frame also, you can see on the 4 hours time frame also, you have this previous 4 hours demand zone which price has rejected. So you need pullback to this zone to give you a trading opportunity. All right. So that is all I have for this pair. On the BTC USD. BTC USD on the higher time frame, BTC USD as you can see is bullish. Okay, but what we're experiencing right now is the normal pullback on the weekly time frame. This was the last weekly higher low and now the weekly higher high. This was the break of structure. So right now on the weekly time frame, I see this as a normal pullback. So my trading idea for the week ahead is to go down to the lower time frame and look for trading opportunity. Like on the daily time frame here, what I'm looking out for is to see if price, after rejecting from this supply zone, which I think we mentioned in our last analysis, if price can pull back to this daily demand zone, then I'll look for a long opportunity. Okay, look for opportunity to long this pair. Then on the 4 hours time frame, I'm looking for trading opportunity as well. This was the trade we called in during the midweek. So right now, what I'm looking at for also on 4 hours, you can see this demand zone also. That is also within that daily zone. So any pullback to this zone will give me a good trading opportunity. Okay, in the coming days and weeks. All right. Somebody may ask, okay, well, how about shorting from this zone? No, I'm not going to look for any shorts from this particular zone. What I'm interested in is to long, and to do that, I will wait for price to break below this line here, and then each continuation to this demand zone, I'll look for a long. That is my trading idea for BTC USD on 4 hours time frame. Okay, so that is all we have for today. Trade responsibly, manage risks. See you in our next market outlook session. Thank you.